A very good evening and welcome to Newsfirst Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Today is the 22nd of April 2024. Bringing you the news for the Newsfirst team, I am Jaimal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Dithmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Iran's President Dr. Said Ibrahim Raisi will arrive in Sri Lanka on Wednesday, confirms Foreign Minister. President meets Mahanayaka Theras of the Malwatu and Asiri chapters. Ramayan Trail, a project to upgrade 9 sites based on the Ramayana, launched. Veyangoda Warehouse Complex has only issued rice stocks deemed suitable for human consumption by the expert committee, says President's office. Multiple investigations launched into the Fox Hill tragedy. 8-year-old among the dead.
On to tonight's top story. Minister of Foreign Affairs said Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi will arrive in Sri Lanka on Wednesday. The highlight of his visit will be the participation in the opening ceremony and official inauguration of the Umm-Oya multi-purpose project.
Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi is in Pakistan on a 3-day official visit. The Iranian President was welcomed by Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in Islamabad. He is also slated to visit major Pakistani cities including Lahore and Karachi. President Raisi said that both countries are of the same stance regarding the prevention of terrorism and the violation of human rights in Palestine. He said this would be an opportunity for Pakistan to secure $10 billion in trade benefits. Upon concluding his visit to Pakistan, President Raisi will embark on a 1-day journey to Sri Lanka. The highlight of his Sri Lankan visit will be the participation in the opening ceremony and official inauguration of the Umm-Oya multipurpose project designed and built by Iranian experts. The Umm-Oya multipurpose project is valued at $520 million. A special discussion was held this morning about the details of the project opening ceremony, chaired by Iranian Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Dr. Ali Riza Delkosh. Irrigation Minister Pavitra Waniarachi, State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa, security chiefs and other government officials joined the discussion.
විශේෂයෙන් අපි සිහිපත් කරන්නට ඕනේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපති අතිගරු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාගේ නායකත්වයෙන් තමයි.
We were able to complete this project under the leadership of current President Ranil Wickremesinghe after securing a significant investment from the Iranian government. The project will be handed over to the people following the grand inauguration jointly led by Iranian President and Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 24th of April at 10 a.m.
24 වෙනිදා පෙරවරු 10ට මෙම ව්‍යාපෘතිය ජනතා අයිතියට පැවරෙනවා.
The Iranian President will also engage in bilateral discussions with President Ranil Wickremesinghe during his visit. The Tinakaran newspaper today reported that Vice Minister of the International Department of the Chinese Communist Party, Sun Haiyan, will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow on a 2-day official visit. During this visit, she is scheduled to hold discussions with high-ranking government officials, including President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the commencement of construction on the financial centre within the port city marks a pivotal milestone in Sri Lanka's endeavour to establish itself as the leading financial hub in South Asia. He was speaking to Chinese media when he made these comments.
So how do you think the quality of the Belt and Road cooperation can be further enhanced from your perspective?
President Xi came to Sri Lanka and laid the foundation for the most challenging project Sri Lanka has embarked on, that is the Colombo port city development. 2 weeks ago, we were embarked on the construction of the financial center, which will play a major role in the Colombo port city development as a financial center, a center of new financial instruments, widespread, with new challenges that is emerging in order to face, call for investment. We are one of the strongest hubs in South Asia between Singapore and the Gulf. So it's a major step that has been taken.
United States and Sri Lankan navies commenced the CARRO Sri Lanka 2024 exercise in Trincomalee.
From the 22nd to the 26th of April in Trincomalee, The United States Navy, US Marine Corps and Sri Lanka Navy will partner for the Cooperation Afloat Readiness and Training or CARRO Sri Lanka 2024 exercise. CARRO Sri Lanka will feature the expertise of the US Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team, a US Marine Corps unit specialized in security and anti-terrorism for naval assets, engaging alongside their Sri Lanka Navy Marine counterparts on a full spectrum of naval capabilities. The CARRO Sri Lanka exercise includes a Women, Peace and Security Symposium on the 24th of April to promote the vital roles women play in peace negotiations, conflict management and resolution. With approximately 70 US personnel working with their Sri Lanka military partners, this fifth iteration of the CARRO Sri Lanka bilateral maritime exercise underscores the strong partnership and shared commitment of the United States and Sri Lanka to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific. Initiated in 1995, CARRO is a series of bilateral and multilateral exercises between the United States and Bangladesh, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Thailand and Timor-Leste. Celebrating its 30th anniversary, this exercise series is designed to enhance the operational collaboration between the US and partner Navy abilities to operate together in response to traditional and non-traditional maritime security challenges in the Indo-Pacific region and build relationships through sports, cultural and information exchanges.
Will the Sri Lanka Freedom Party's internal politics intensify into a national political crisis? The Maithripala Sirisena faction yesterday said the Justice Minister Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa was appointed as the acting chairman of the SLFP.
However, police obstructed the entry of Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa into the SLFP headquarters yesterday. Minister of Public Security commented on the incident today and said that the keys to the SLFP headquarters have not been handed over to the police to complete the investigation process.
A group including Maithripala Sirisena gathered in Pitakota yesterday for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Executive Council meeting where Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa was appointed as the acting chairman of the SLFP. A heated situation arose later yesterday when police obstructed the entry of Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa into the SLFP headquarters.
Police have unlawfully taken the law into their own hands and is acting based on the agenda of an invisible force to prevent this. They will have to provide answers before the Supreme Court in the future.
Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas responded to this statement at an event in Nuwara today.
Sri Lanka නිදහස් පක්ෂ කාර්යාලයේ ප්‍රශ්නය අද ඊයේ එකක් නෙමෙයි. දැන් මට ආරංචි කිව්වා කියලා පොලිසියෙන් දාගෙන ඉඳලා තියෙනවා කියලා.
The issue of the SLFP office is not a recent one. They've said the police was turning a blind eye. Police made several requests to the secretary requesting the key to open the office to conclude the investigation. When I asked the OIC this morning, they still hadn't brought the key to open the office. That is why the police haven't done anything till now. A group have arrived during that time. I only found out later that the Minister of Justice was also among them. Police hadn't let them enter. That is the reason.
දැන් එතුමා මේ වෙනකොට ඊයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා දාස් පක්ෂ වැඩමන සභාපතිවරයා පත් වුණා. ඒ වගේම ආණ්ඩුවේ අධිකරණ නැමැත්තුමා. එතකොට මේ තත්ත්වය තුල කොහොමද මේ තනතුරත් එක්ක එතුමාගේ අමාත්‍යවරය සම්බන්ධ ගැටලුව මතුවෙනව නේද?
That is an issue he should resolve with the president.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna said that Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa, who entered parliament as a member of the SLPP, is risking his parliamentary seat by accepting positions in other parties.
Vijaydas Rajapaksa, who is aware of the law better than all of us, must understand what is legal and not. He entered parliament as the member of the SLPP and now holds a ministerial portfolio. Now he has accepted the role of acting chairman of an opposition party. I feel like these factors are enough to risk his party membership and parliamentary seat. I think he should have thought twice before accepting the chairmanship of a party while holding a ministerial portfolio of another party. He is destroying himself.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that the appointment of the acting chairman is illegal.
The
Politburo meeting was called very hastily. They lacked the authority to call such a meeting because of a ban imposed on the former leader by the Supreme Court. They convened yesterday's meeting with people who hold no authority. It is completely illegal and has no basis. Maithripala Sirisena does not have the authority to join that meeting. He is accused of selling off the party.
Deputy Secretary of the SLFP, Sarath Ekanayaka, said that Wijayadasa Rajapaksa accepted the role to prove that he is ready to take up challenges.
He did not accept ministerial portfolios while representing our party. He contested under the SLFP. He is an SLPP MP. We do not know if he will lose his portfolio that he now holds under the SLPP. He has accepted that challenge and joined this party. He will face it. That is not our concern.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Freedom Party Acting General Secretary Sarathi Dushmantha Mitrapala said the SLFP has informed the Election Commission about the appointment of Dr. Wijayadasa Rajapaksa.
More news from here at home. President Ranil Wickremesinghe called on the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Asiri chapters yesterday to seek their blessings.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the Malwatu Mahaviharaya and paid his respects to the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thera, followed by a brief discussion. Thereafter, President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the Asiri Mahaviharaya and called on the chief prelate of the Asiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thera.
Treasurer of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Shestra Trust, Swami Gobind Dgiri Maharaj, currently on a visit to Sri Lanka to enhance Indo-Lanka ties, called on the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Asiri chapters.
A group including Swami Gobind Dgiri Maharaj visited the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy. Then the group called on the chief prelate of the Asiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thera, and the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thera. Swami Gobind Dgiri Maharaj also visited the Sri Selva Vinayagar Kovil in Katukale, Kandy and engaged in religious observances. Swami Gobind Dgiri Maharaj, the treasurer of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra Trust, was part of the launch of the Ramayan Trail, the Sacred Mission project in Colombo yesterday, unveiling a new chapter in Sri Lanka's spiritual and cultural journey. The event took place in the presence of the President's Chief of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, former member of the European Parliament and President's Special Envoy Niranjan Devaditya, former Speaker Karu Jayasuriya and Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Santosh Jha. The Sri Ramayan Trails aims to transform 9 key sites across Sri Lanka into world-class monuments epitomizing the spiritual and historical essence of the epic Ramayana. These locations, including Adams Bridge in Mana Basin, Ashoka Vatika in Sithalaya, Valimada Divirumpola, Usangoda National Park, Rumasala in Gaul, Koneshwaram in Trincomalee, Manavari Temple in Chilau, Ravana Cave in Aller and the Katharagama Ramayana Trail will serve as a platform for sacred pilgrimage. The project is slated with an initial investment of $50 million.
Bhagwan Shri Ram came here. He made Vibhishana the king of Sri Lanka. Whatever he did was just for the well-being of the whole universe. Though he was born in Ayodhya, he was not of Ayodhya. He is not of Bharat, he is universal. The universal Ram has got a very, very special chapter in Sri Lanka. And therefore, for us, Sri Lanka is not just a piece of land, it is holy pilgrim. You people are more blessed than the Indians because it's only the land of Sri Lanka which has the temple of Sita Mata alone. Sita Mata's temple you will nowhere find in Bharat, but it is here, and therefore it is holier for us to come here. Because if Bhagavan Shri Ram is our father, Sita ji is our mother. And in our Vedic culture, it is said, Matru Devo Bhava first and then Pitru Devo Bhava. Honor your mother first and then your father. Bhagavan Buddha's thoughts reached here, and this holy land has retained those thoughts through Buddhism. So many viharas, so many Buddha bhikkhus, they are there. These are not two lands. These are two parts of the same land emotionally, culturally. We are one. These bondages has to be strengthened. In Vedas, there is one mantra, Sangachatvam, Samvadadvam, Sambho Manausi Janatam. Let us walk together, let us talk together, let us understand together, and let us go ahead together.
The President's office, issuing a statement, said that rice provided by the World Food Programme for the school meal programme is suitable for human consumption. The statement was issued in response to media reports published over the quality of the rice. The President's office, issuing a statement, said the Veyangoda warehouse complex has only issued rice stocks deemed suitable for human consumption by the expert committee appointed by the Gampaha Divisional Health Services Director for distribution in the school meal program. The committee has provided relevant recommendations relying on analytical reports from the Government Analyst Department and the Medical Research Institute. To ensure compliance, all provincial chief secretaries are instructed in writing to mobilize a team that represents the health sector to conduct a thorough re-inspection and retrieval of the rice stock confirmed safe for consumption by multiple institutions from the Veyangoda warehouse complex. Additionally, they are tasked with strategizing to utilize this rice stock before the 1st of May. The statement added that as per protocol, prior to distributing the rice stock from the central warehouse to the respective provinces, it is mandatory for the senior officer from the Provincial Department of Education and a public health inspector representing the province to ensure its suitability for human consumption. Only after their official confirmation through signature, the rice stocks are released to the respective provinces. To enhance health, safety and food quality for school children, the directions further emphasize the necessity for the rice supplied by the World Food Programme to undergo inspection by the Public Health Inspector and a representative of the School Nutrition Committee before being distributed to school cooks. Compliant with international food packaging quality standards, this batch of rice is advised to be utilized before the 31st of May. As the rice has been received as a grant, the packaging is labelled "Not for sale." This label does not indicate that the rice is unsuitable for consumption. Following a comprehensive inspection representing diverse health sector considerations, the World Food Programme has confirmed its suitability.
Sri Lanka and Iran will sign 5 agreements during the visit of President Dr. Said Ibrahim Raisi to Sri Lanka. This revelation was made by Iran's ambassador to Sri Lanka, Ali Reza Delkhosh, speaking exclusively to Newsfirst Zulfiq Farzan earlier today.
His Excellency Dr. Ibrahim Raisi, the President of Islamic Republic of Iran, will be paying an official visit to Sri Lanka on Wednesday, April 24th at the official invitation of His Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Honorable President of Sri Lanka. During this visit, the two presidents will discuss various fields of bilateral relations, including on political, economic, and cultural matters. Additionally, they will jointly inaugurate the Umayyad Multipurpose Development Project on the same day. Also, the accompanying ministers during this visit will sign 5 documents related to bilateral relations with their Sri Lankan counterparts.
News First with the people.
Sri Lanka Police and the Sri Lanka Military Police have initiated investigations into the tragic accident that unfolded during the Fox Hill Supercross race in Diathalava, resulting in the loss of 7 lives. The deceased includes an 8-year-old girl as well.
8-year-old Dinushika from Lower Diabara in Valimada had been an avid motor racing fan. She had convinced her grandfather to accompany her to the Fox Hill Supercross to fulfill her desire to witness some thrilling races. Since Dinushika's mother had passed away, she was raised by her grandparents. During the race, Dinushika and her grandfather had moved closer to the track to watch it up close. This fateful decision resulted in the death of both Dinushika and her grandfather, Muttu Udekumar. 62-year-old father of two, Shanta Upali Gamage, a resident of Rahula Crossroad in Matara, lost his life owing to this accident. Ganesh Jayawardena, a 60-year-old father of three, was also a victim of this catastrophe. Rasika Abe Nayaka, a 32-year-old resident of Avissavella, was employed at the Salava army camp. He had been at the event while on leave. 19-year-old Chamat Niroshan from Siduwa and Ashen Hinatigala are also among the deceased. 20 others who suffered injuries following the accident continue to receive medical treatment. Last evening, Acting Magistrate of Bandaravela, Senaviratna Wickremesinghe, arrived at the location of the accident to conduct the judicial inquest.
स्टार्ट එක අරගෙන අපි මීටර් 300 මෙතෙන්ට වෙනකන් ආවා. මගේ වම් පැත්තේ කාර් එකට මම ඕවර්ටේක් කරද්දි තමයි.
We took the start from over there and travelled a distance of 300 to 500 meters. As soon as I was going to overtake the vehicle on my left, the vehicles touched and my vehicle toppled, and it ended on the other side of the track. Someone rushed over to help me out of the vehicle, but I heard the race continuing, so I crawled out from the other side of the vehicle since I realized there would be damage if not. The vehicle overturned here. I asked the marshal through the walkie-talkie to check on the driver. I crossed over to the other side to check on the driver. We tried opening the driver's side door but couldn't. During that time, 5 cars went past me, and that is when the accident occurred.
The Sri Lanka police said it will launch a probe to ascertain if any shortcomings in organising the event led to this accident.
Both drivers who were involved in the crash were arrested. They were produced in court today and were remanded till the 30th.
ඔවුන් 30 වන දින දක්වා රක්ෂිත බන්ධනාගාරගත කරලා තිනවා. දෙද අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්ත හේතුව මොකක්ද මේක තරංගාවලියක්. තරංගාවලියක් වුණත් අපිට මොටර රථ වාහන පනත යටතේ මෙවැනි තරංගාවලියක් සංවිධානය කරනකොට
Although this is a race, there are provisions with the Motor Traffic Act that apply here. We must act in accordance to those. The second reason is we do not know in which state they participated in the race. Hence we need evidence. We also have observed a certain nature of negligence as well. We believe there weren't adequate measures taken to ensure the safety of the public. We cannot reach a conclusion directly, but we believe there was a certain shortcoming during the event because the spectators were not safe.
Meanwhile, Army Commander Major General Wickremesinghe visited the Diatalava Base Hospital to inquire into the well-being of those who were injured in the accident. Organisers of the event decided to suspend the Fox Hill Supercross 2024 following this tragedy. The military police have launched a separate investigation into the matter as well. Media spokesperson of the Sri Lanka Army, Major General Rasika Kumara, said the investigation report will be handed over to the Army Commander. Across different regions, a program aimed at distributing rice to low-income families is currently in progress. This initiative is being executed in accordance with the directives of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Under the rice distribution program, each selected family will receive 20 kilograms of rice from the government. Ministers Prasanna Ranatunga and Nalin Fernando participated in the distribution of rice to selected low-income families in the Jayala electorate. The distribution of rice took place at the Ukuvala Divisional Secretariat in Mathale, presided over by Minister of State for Sports and Youth Affairs Rohana Disanayaka. In the Allarava area of Imbalpe, Ratnapura, government officials spearheaded the distribution of rice to low-income families. The primary rice distribution program in the Polonnaruwa district was conducted in Hikuragoda under the leadership of State Minister Siripala Gamla. At the Pathaheva Divisional Secretariat in Thalathoya, rice was provided to low-income earners in the presence of United National Party General Secretary Palitha Rangibandara. Low-income families received rice at the Sammanala grounds in Galle, with United National Party Chairman and Member of Parliament Vajrabe Wadana overseeing the distribution.
The National People's Power has released dates for the debate between its leader Anurukumara Dissanayaka and the leader of the Samagi Janabalawegaya Sajith Premadasa. The dates put forth by the National People's Power are the 7th, 9th, 13th and 14th of May. The NPP says if the SJB is unable to take part in this debate, they must immediately inform of their unavailability. In more news from Sri Lanka's political arena. While views are being expressed regarding a presidential election, a debate is also ongoing regarding the candidates to be fielded by each party. Who will be the Sri Lanka Podujana Peremuna's presidential candidate? This question was raised with Minister Prasanna Ranatunga once again today.
When's the election?
We don't know
that. There is no decision on it. It is the media that is telling us of the groups that have come forward. We will be able to know for sure in the future. No, I am not the leader of the SLPP. A decision will be reached at the SLPP Politburo with the leader in future.
When's the election?
Member of Parliament Thissa Kutiarachi said the SLPP is ready to announce their presidential candidate.
The
SLPP will definitely put forward a candidate. Basil Rajapaksa told the party convention that the SLPP logo will be on the ballot papers. I saw national organizer Namal Rajapaksa saying that a candidate representing the Pohottuwa will be announced. There is no debate on it.
When's the election?
Speaking in Virakaitia today, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said he will not make deals with thieves even if it would make him the king of kings.
අද බලන්නකෝ දේශපාලනයේ සිදුවෙන දේවල් කොච්චර බලු පොරයක් තියෙනවද බලෙන් තනතුරු වල තානාන්තර.
Look at what is happening in the political arena today. There is a power struggle to obtain power and various positions. There are various conspiracies. They do not have the same greed and hunger. They have to conspire to build the education system of this country. They conspire to drive people out and form alliances out of their greed for power. They repeatedly make statements regarding crossovers. And for what? That is to obtain power, for the greed, for power and positions. My allegiance is to the 20 million people. Even if I am promised to be crowned the king of kings, I will not be part of these conspiracies and deals. I will reach any deal to build the country, but not with power-hungry politicians. I will reach the deal with the 20 million people of this country.
ලක්ෂ 220ක් පොදු ජනතාවන ඔබත් එක්කයි කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Malikakanda magistrate Lochani Abe Wickrema today ordered the suspects arrested over the distribution of substandard medicine in hospitals, including Kehelia Rambukwala, to be further remanded till the 6th of May. The order was issued when the case was called up once again today.
The 10 suspects, including former Minister of Health Kehelia Rambukwala, former Director of the Medical Supplies Division Dr. Kapila Wickremesinghe, former Secretary to the Minister of Health Janaka Sri Chandragupta and Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Health Saman Ratnayaka were produced in court today. When the case was called, Deputy Solicitor General Lakmini Girihagama presented a report to court regarding the progress of the investigations. She informed court that several orders were required to carry out further investigations. Attorneys also made separate bail requests on behalf of the suspects. The case is scheduled to be taken up once again on the 6th of May.
Venerable Ulapane Sumangala Thera and another person were remanded to the 26th of April when the case filed for obstructing the execution of a court order was taken up at the Halsdorf No. 3 court.
Charges were filed against 4 people, including Venerable Ulpane Sumangala Thera, for obstructing the execution of a court order for the removal of several slum houses located down Dabure Mawatha in Narahempita. President's Counsel Kalinga Idatissa and Anuja Premaratna appeared for the defence.
The United Centenary Front delivered letters to the headquarters of several political parties today. The letters called for all parliamentarians to declare their assets and for each party to disclose its budget. The group first visited the United National Party headquarters in Sirikotha, followed by the headquarters of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. They then submitted similar letters requesting transparency to the National People's Power, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, as well as the Election Commission.
Out of the 225 parliamentarians in our country, only 16 have declared their assets. This lack of transparency is a concern, as public servants in most developed countries are required to declare their assets in order to be held accountable. These developed countries usually require political parties to publish their budgets. We request that all parties in our country contribute to creating a new political culture by requiring their members to declare their assets and by publishing their party budgets.
Let's now take a look at the Newsfirst Finance Report.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
Air Asia Consulting, Fitz Aviation and 4 others submit RFQs for Sri Lankan Airlines.
Sri Lanka State-Owned Enterprise Recurring Unit announced that 6 requests for qualifications were received for the acquisition of shares of Sri Lankan Airlines. The RFQs were received from the following parties: Air Asia Consulting, Darshan Elite Investment Holding Private Limited, Fitz Aviation Private Limited, Sherisha Technologies Private Limited, Treasure Republic Guardians Limited, Haley's PLC.
Tesla cuts prices in major markets as sales fall.
Tesla has cut its prices again in a number of major markets, including the US, China and Germany, as the electric car giant run by multi-billionaire Elon Musk faces falling sales. The move comes after it reported a sharp fall in its global vehicle deliveries in the first 3 months of this year. A price war has been intensifying between electric vehicle makers, with particularly fierce competition coming from Chinese firms. Tesla is due to report financial results for the first quarter of 2024 after the US market closed on Tuesday.
Tourism surges with over 100,000 arrivals in first 20 days of April.
Sri Lanka's tourism industry is witnessing a remarkable surge, with the country welcoming over 100,000 tourists in the initial 20 days of April, setting an optimistic tone for the sector's trajectory in 2024. The industry analysts acknowledge the significant strides made towards achieving the ambitious target of 182,724 monthly arrivals for April, but they cautioned that the sector may fall short of reaching its monthly goal. India leads the arrival during the first 18 days of the month with 16,222 visitors, followed by the UK and Russia during the first 20 days. In addition, visitors from Germany, France, Australia, China, US and Israel were welcomed. India also maintains its position as the top tourist source market for Sri Lanka year to date, followed by Russia, UK, Germany and China. For 2024, Sri Lanka Tourism has set an ambitious target to welcome 2.3 million tourists and earn over $4 billion.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
In a recent visit to Batticaloa, Newsfirst sought out survivors who continue to grapple with the aftermath of the brutal bombings that occurred 5 years ago on a Sunday just like yesterday. Amidst the remnants of tragedy, we encountered yet another individual whose story we will share in this report. This is the story of the Chelan family, with the breadwinner Inasi Chelan serving in the government sector. Anulekha is the cherished wife of Chelan. 5 years have passed since Anulekha last engaged in conversation, her consciousness slipping away without warning. Half a decade ago, Chelan accompanied Anulekha and their son to the Easter service at the Zion Church in Batticaloa. Anulekha, known for her sermons to the Sabbath school children, had attended after wrapping up her school duties. The devastating bombing shattered the tranquility of this once loving and close-knit family. While Chelan and their son emerged physically unscathed, Anulekha now resides in a hospital bed at their house, her voice silenced and her world confined to the walls around her.
When I took my wife to the hospital, she was lifeless. I took her to the hospital hoping she would walk again one day, and with that hope I continued to fight for her well-being. Yet I have not been able to achieve it. I continue to carry her in my arms, but I do not know for how long I would be able to do it. When I married her, I made a promise according to the Bible that during good times and bad times I would protect her as long as I live.
Anulekha, her head still harboring fragments of the bomb, exists in a twilight realm. She perceives the words of others, but remains unable to respond. Her once agile limbs now falter, just one arm, one leg, a mere semblance of their former vitality. Chelan, unwavering in his devotion, tends to his beloved wife, fueled by the unwritten promise that someday their voices will intertwine once more. Theirs is a poignant tale, woven into the broader fabric of the Easter Sunday bombings, a tragedy that reverberates far beyond their own suffering. Yet, as we bear witness to their struggle, we cannot help but wonder how many others endure a similar silent battle.
We are living during a time where for some, the Easter Sunday bombings is just an incident. That is why, during the past few days, we walked around the city of Batticaloa in search of another group of people who were the victims of the attack. Do you know that some people are carrying the weight of the bombs inside their bodies? Do you know that some people are carrying the scars, the injuries in their hearts? Do you know that still some homes are like hospital rooms? They're asking for justice. They're asking for the truth to be revealed. Reporting to you, I am Budmi Namaradi Wakara for Newsfirst.
Let's now take a look at some of the latest developments from across the world on tonight's edition of The World Today.
Now Hashini, 2024 is generally an election year and India's election just commenced on the 19th of April. Now tonight's top story from World Today is also regarding elections. Now Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu's party won a landslide victory at a parliamentary election, cementing his grip on power. Now the provincial results show the People's National Congress won 66 seats in the 93-member house.
Yes, Rachel. Now, analysts view the victory as strong backing for Muizzu's policy to achieve close ties with China. According to reports, Muizzu, who is widely seen as pro-China, wants to reduce India's long-standing influence in his country.
Local media have described the PNC's win, which will be ratified in several days' time, as a supermajority. It has achieved the 2/3 in parliament that is required to amend the constitution. The main opposition, Maldivian Democratic Party, has managed to win only 15 seats. Prior to Sunday's voting, it had the majority of seats in parliament.
Muizzu came to power late last year and his campaign was centered on ending the country's India First policy that was adopted by the previous government. He has yet to embark on an official visit to Delhi. He has promised to send home all Indian troops based in the Maldives to reduce Delhi's influence. Now, Rochelle, taking a look at more stories on the world today, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to reject any sanctions on the country's military after reports said that the US plans to cut aid to one of their units. Now, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "I will fight it with all my strength."
Earlier reports suggested that the US would target Israel's Netza Yahuba battalion over alleged human rights violations in the occupied West Bank. When asked last week about reports that US military aid to Israel Defense Forces units could be cut over allegations of human rights abuses in the occupied West Bank, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said, quote, "I've made determinations. You can expect to see them in the days ahead," end quote. Washington, Israel's main ally, has never suspended aid to an IDF unit before.
Now, Rochelle, meanwhile, the head of Israeli military intelligence, Major General Haron Haliva, has resigned and will leave once a successor is appointed. Haliva said last year he accepted responsibility for the intelligence failures that allowed the Hamas-led attack on Israel on the 7th of October.
Now shifting your attention to more international news. Now Hashini, floods have been a common occurrence in several areas across the world, and today we have similar news from China. Now authorities have evacuated nearly 60,000 people from their homes in Guangdong as heavy rains have caused massive flooding in China's most populous province. Now according to state media, 3 people have died so far, while 11 have gone missing.
Yes, Rochelle. Now, footage on state media and online show large swathes of land inundated by the floods and rescuers ferrying people on lifeboats in waist-deep water.
Several major rivers have burst their banks and authorities are closely monitoring quote-unquote dangerously high water levels. They have warned that the level of a river in northern Guangdong could hit a once-in-100-years peak this morning, though this had yet to materialize by noon.
Much of Guangdong is part of the low-lying Pearl River Delta, which is prone to floods due to watershed floods, sea level rise and storm surges. The Delta is a major manufacturing base in China and one of the country's most densely populated regions, with Guangdong alone home to around 127 million people. And that's a wrap of the news we have for you on the world today. Bringing you the news, I'm Hashini Patirana.
And I'm Rochelle Thamodara. It's back to the studios.
With news from across the world brought to you by Rochelle Thamodara and Hashini Patirana, we bring to a close tonight's edition of Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Jaimal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Rithmini De Silva. Thank you for watching. Good night.